Hello and welcome back to a new episode of Halfway with Hathaway. George Hathaway here. Super happy to have you on here. Wow, that was a lot of H's in a row. But yes, another new episode 15. We're really getting along. And happy March. Honestly, first and foremost, happy March. It is my favorite time of year, hands down. It's the best time of year, I think, in sports. I think this is the best month. The other one, give me October. That's another good month for sports. March, because the greatest sporting tournament happens. The NCAA Tournament happens in March. And I'm super excited. I cannot wait. This is going to be an amazing time for college basketball. UConn, they lost to Creighton last week to a 15 seed, which is all right, whatever. Creighton is a home merchant team. They can only win against good teams at their own home court. They couldn't beat UConn on the road, so UConn bumped down to number 3 in the poll. Houston's at number 1, Purdue at number 2. Now, I said this, when UConn lost to Creighton, I said it on Twitter, and I also told my dad this too. I thought UConn should have stayed at 1. In my opinion, if anything, they moved down to 2. Anything other than that, I don't think they should have. And to me, look at Purdue's season. They have not been playing well at all. They've been losing to non-top 25 teams, and that's a big thing. And for them to be ranked higher than UConn, which I believe UConn in every other way is better than Purdue, all around. There's no question. Houston's a great team. They're a phenomenal team to watch. But I just, honestly, in my opinion, UConn should have been at number 2 over Purdue. I'm not a big fan of Purdue. I have disliked this team for a while. I don't think that they are legit, nor do I think that they can actually compete for a national championship. We see it year after year. They lost last year as a 1 seed and to FDU. And I'm not a buyer of Purdue. I don't think that the Boilermakers are a good team. I've never thought that they were good either. They're always a team that is ranked highly to the start of the season. Then they start losing middle of the year to non-top 25 teams, and they lose in the conference, and then boom, they're ranked as a number 1 in March Madness, and then all of a sudden they can't perform when the bright lights are on them. So that's why I'm not a fan of Purdue. I don't think that they deserve to be number 2. And I think another reason why UConn went down to number 3 in the poll is that Creighton lost to St. John's, a team that UConn had demolished twice earlier this season already. So I think that hurt UConn a little bit, that Creighton could not beat St. John's in Madison Square Garden, as Rick Pitino is wearing an all-white suit, looking like he's about to take a call. It's Rick Pitino. He brought out all the Italians for this game for some odd reason. He brought out I was about to say Danny DeVito. Daniel Jones. He brought out Daniel Jones' agent, the one who's really circulated a lot of media buzz in the NFL season, because not Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito. That's who I was thinking of. Oh my goodness. It's been a day. It's been a long day. No, yes. So I mixed Danny DeVito, Danny Jones, Tommy DeVito, and that's what I came up with. Awesome. Okay. Tommy DeVito's agent. He was at the St. John's Creighton game. It was pretty funny. He's wearing like an all-green suit. Whatever. But yes, this is the best time of year. This really is. March, April, it's phenomenal. I love watching the NCAA Tournament. It's one of the most electrifying postseasons that there are in all of sports. I don't think anything tops this. I think MLB playoff or MLB postseason rather, very fun to watch. But no, nothing lives up. You have 68 teams. 64 go into the tournament bracket. and they all battle for a shot at one national championship. And at any given night, you have no idea who's going to win. Last year, Princeton went on a run. FAU, as a 9 seed, went to the Final Four. And then they ended up losing to San Diego State. Which was a great game. That was a buzzer beater, too. And you look at this, and you're like, you just never know. Any given night, a 1 seed could lose. Another team like Virginia. And I'm not a buyer of Virginia ever. Kansas, they've been struggling lately. It's really about who's hot at the right time in March Madness. That's why, okay, that's fine. I'd rather have UConn lose in February, get back on the road, get back together, get comfortable, because after losing to Creighton, when they played Villanova, I did not want to be Villanova whatsoever. But yeah, no, it's the best time of year. And then April, you have the national championship game. Baseball is starting up. And then the Masters. Nothing's more beautiful than the Masters. So I'm just excited for March Madness this year. I really think that this is going to be a fun year. I'm having UConn's my lock this year. They're winning it again. They're going back to back. They're going to have 6 national championships, and it's time to put some respect on UConn, because this team's a damn blue blood. And they're better than any blue blood out there. In the last 24 years, 25, from 1999 on, UConn has 5 national championships. The top blue bloods in the country don't even have that. You can count on one hand the amount they have combined. Between Duke, UNC, Kentucky. I mean, there's some other blue. I think UConn is a real, true blue blood out here. They are something that you should put some respect on, especially if they win their 6th national championship, because they're up there with UNC, who they beat this year. I don't make the rules, but that'd be a great book. I want to write a book, and I think it will be on college basketball and their blue bloods, just because I'm so passionate about college basketball. I think I'm a good writer. But yeah, sticking in college basketball, because it's that time of year, is it time to ban court storming? Duke, Wake Forest. I was on the golf course actually watching this. I wasn't watching the game. I just saw the highlights. But Wake Forest took down Duke, who I don't think is going to do well in the NCAA tournament. And then Kyle Filipowski got hurt when the Wake Forest students were court storming. Is it time to ban court stormings? John Shire, the Duke head coach, said yes, it is. It's time to do something about it. He's wrong. I love John Shire. Total respect for him. National champion. Great coach. But I think he's wrong. I think he's absolutely wrong. It's not time to ban court storming whatsoever. I wrote an article for House Enterprise about this. It's one of my first non-UConn article for the site. And I talked about how you shouldn't ban court storming. This is a college tradition, unlike anything else that there is. And to me, it's how you execute a court storm to make it safe. When Creighton took down UConn, okay, yes, there's the Stanley Hurley things that he said after the game. But the security lined up and they blocked the UConn players from getting stormed upon. That's how you execute a perfect court storming. You make sure the players are safe, especially opposing players, and you make sure they're safe because that's your number one priority. You can allow court storms to happen. You could have a 10-second timer. Coaches need to run off. Boom. And then you can start court storming. That's a possibility as well. That can happen. You can't get rid of something. Jay Billis and a few other guys from ESPN were saying, get rid of it. Fine the teams $1 million. Arrest the students who are court storming. What the hell? No. That is completely wrong. You're not going to be doing this. Fining the school $1 million. And Paul Bianacardi and I kind of went back and forth on Twitter about it a little bit. And I was saying that you can safely execute a court storming. You can allow it to happen because, one, it's a tradition of college basketball. Two, it's that thrill, excitement. You are taking down a top 10 team. You are taking down the number 1 team in the country. On your own home court, you storm it. You're excited. You're videotaping, whatever it may be. Allow it to continue to happen, but safely do it. That's it. That's all you have to do is safely make sure everybody, especially the opposing team, is okay. And that's if you create a little barricade and then you flood the gates after. You can't just run over guys. And of course Duke got the bad rep for it because Kyle Filipowski played the next game. Just going on to live in Duke fashion, I guess, right? The villain. We all love the villain. I love the Duke villains. I have a Christian Laettner jersey. There, I said it. I love it. But, come on, dude. It looked bad. At first glance, it was like, okay, yeah, that does not look good. But, it happens, but you just, and these are just instances where it happens. It happened to Caitlin Clark this year as well, where she got, hit by a fan. But depending on how you look at it, it looked like she hit the fan versus the fan hitting her. So, whatever. But I don't think you should ban it. You cannot get rid of something, and expect it to not happen at all. Because that's emotions really going into it. That's what court storming is. It's an emotional thing. You're running. Woo! Yeah! And to me, it's just, all right. You can't get rid of it at all, whatsoever. To people who say that they should are completely wrong. This is something that you can't get rid of. And to say that you should arrest students or fine the schools for something, that's completely wrong. And if anything, you are going to escalate the situation more. You have to amp up security, create a safe path, and that's it. And then you have people, they don't court storm at March Madness. There's a reason why. One, they're in an NFL stadium playing. Two, the way the students are kind of lined up, they're barricaded in, and they're maybe 10, 20 feet away from the court. They're not sitting courtside like they do at their own home games. They're farther away, and the court is elevated up a little bit more too. So there's all these types of things. And yes, it doesn't happen in other sports, but that's what separates college basketball from everything else. It's that in particular. And whatever, don't ban it. It's a stupid thing to do if they do. And whoever thinks that court storming should be banned is completely wrong and needs to think about it a lot more. Because there are ways to go around it instead of just getting rid of something. It goes for a lot of things in life. There's other ways to safely do things instead of banning things, But I digress. March Madness is going to be insane this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. The 5 Big East teams could possibly be in it, which is unreal. UConn's a lock. They're going to be number 1, I think. But I would hate for them to be number 1. Because there's a target on their back. There already is one, without a doubt. And there's a lot more pressure for this team to do well. And I think they have what it takes. But with a target on your back, everyone's going to be against you. You're the defending national champions. You've been blowing out every team yet again. A few losses on the season already. It's happy March. I'm happy it's here. I've been smiling all day, talking about March. I watched March Madness highlights while eating breakfast this morning. I was like, okay, I got to get ready. I left cookies out for John Rothstein. He left me some, he didn't leave anything, no. But that was a whole joke on Twitter. It was actually so funny where people actually were like, leaving Thin Mints for John Rothstein, and happy March Madness. It's a holiday. It really is. And happy, start of March Madness to all those who celebrate out there. But no, going into NBA now. Pelicans Heat. Oof, wow, that brawl was something else. Jimmy Butler, Najee Marshall were both suspended in one game for their role in the brawl. Thomas Bryant and Jose Alvarado were suspended 3 games each, which that is now over and done with. But who would expect that from these two teams? It was a hard foul on Zion, I'm not going to lie. I think the reactions were necessary. But for Thomas Bryant and Jose Alvarado, them coming off the bench to join in on the fight, that is what caused the 3-game suspension. Najee Marshall was throwing hands. Put Jimmy Butler in a chokehold. It was just unreal. But the Pelicans blew out the Pacers. And Herb Jones held Tyrese Halliburton to 0 points for the first time since November of 2021. Halliburton went scoreless in an NBA game. Put Herb Jones on the first team all defense. Put some respect on him. That dude is a brick wall. You cannot score when Herb Jones is on you. Not on Herb. It's that simple. I think that he deserves finally a first team all defense. I've been saying it for years now about that, which is crazy. The Clippers, they are rebranding once again with the Inuit Dome that they're building. They're doing all this cool things, with this new stadium for the Clippers, which, nothing's hung up on the rafters for the Clippers, so that'll never happen additionally. But no, I like this. I like the new logos, and I think they're super cool. The color concept's cool. The logo is literally a clipper. And for those who don't know what a clipper is, it's a sailboat. And that was back, when they're the San Diego Clippers. San Diego being a very prominent place for sailing, boating, all that. So hence the name Clippers. And they're actually kind of using the name. Unlike before it was just a basketball. Like a Laker. Same thing. But the Lakers are too iconic to actually change. So a team finally, using their name in a logo, which I think is cool. And I think it's an interesting concept. Like I said, I'm here for it. I think it's good. The Clippers need a rebrand. They've done several. But I think this is the one that's going to stick for a while. Just because, the Clippers' history, what's kind of happened with that. You need a new identity, especially if you're going into a new stadium that you're building that costs billions of dollars. With that being said, you should kind of go in there, rebrand, and feel more comfortable with it all. And I think that's good. I think that's good for the Clippers. I'm excited. They're having this thing, the wall, for these Clippers fans that are only fans wearing Clipper gear. To me, it's very similar to a student section at a college basketball game. That's how I look at it. NBA fans aren't that passionate. They're not like college basketball fans who bleed, eat, sleep their school. Like me. Eat, breathe, and sleep UConn basketball. And bleed blue. Right? So with that, it's like, okay, NBA fans aren't passionate. You don't see somebody painting their body, purple and gold for the Lakers, right? You don't see that. You see him wearing a LeBron, Kobe jersey, right? For the Clippers, what are you going to have? Somebody wearing a Paul George jersey, Kawhi jersey, James Harden jersey, right? Like that, to me, it's just like, ooh, it's just, you can't do that, for NBA. You can't have like a dedicated fan section for that because it's hard. Because they're not passionate. That's another difference between the NBA and college basketball. Why I love it so much more. It's just the passionate fans, and that's what makes it exciting. But I like the move. I think hopefully it works out. I hope I'm proved wrong and that there maybe are some very passionate Clippers fans. I only know one, so. But I don't think that it's going to be a good look. I don't think it's going to work out too well for the Clippers. It could work for other teams. You know, you could see the Knicks doing it back in the day, maybe. But like I said, NBA fans aren't as passionate. They're not. A lot of them just come back from work. You know, they're off work. Okay, Friday night. You know, let's go catch a game, get a few drinks, and that's it. You know, you don't have somebody painting themselves, wearing crazy costumes, or stuff like that. That's just not what happens in the NBA. But I hope the Clippers prove that wrong, and hopefully starts a trend. Hopefully it starts a trend, because I would love to see something so similar to college basketball in their atmosphere. Maybe then the NBA would have court stormings, and it wouldn't be just people protesting the Minnesota Timberwolves. But I don't know. I mean, it's just, to me, you just need those passionate fans. I don't think the NBA would ever do that, though. It's a professional thing, I guess. An entertainment business, right? We'll see, though. A lot of good stuff. March has just begun. I mean, I will do, who I think is going to be I guess I could do a 68 team bracket, who I think is going to be in there. I definitely could do something like that. I mean, I could just go through the top 4, for each division, who I think is going to be where. It's going to be a lot of fun, though. March has just begun. Conference tournaments are starting soon. Oof, just gear up. There's no sleep in March whatsoever, right? But thank you for tuning into this episode of Halfway with Hathaway. Really appreciate you listening, tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. And then if you're on Spotify or any other place where you get your podcasts, make sure to give us that 5-star rating and a follow, and turn on those notifications so you can know every single time that there's a new episode of Halfway with Hathaway. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.